Today we have Miss Naquetta Ricks, and she's a longtime resident of Aurora. She's also a small businesswoman, community leader, and a graduate of University of Colorado Denver School of Business. And she brings a vision and a passion to House District 42 that is pretty much unparalleled and unmatched as far as the passion and the work that has been done from her predecessor. Naquetta has focused on helping families give their children access to tools they need to complete in the 21st century. She's also a founder of the Ricks Group and sole owner of the Ricks Group. And again, she demonstrates her passion as a small business owner and economic development enthusiast. Welcome, Ms. Ricks.
Thank you, Keith. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you here. So, what is it like to start your journey as an elected official, particularly in House District number 42?
Well, you know the race, I filed my candidate papers about 4 weeks ago now, and after much thought and consideration about this race, North Aurora, this area is where I grew up, and I'm a longtime resident of North Aurora. So after much thought and working so much in the community, I thought it was a great place for me to start as far as jumping into the race for this state house seat.
Now, many know and are aware that you did grow up in Aurora, as you stated, but where were you born, and how did you get here, and how does it impact the work that you are?
Well, I'm originally from Liberia, West Africa. I was born there. My family moved here after a really bloody military overthrow of the government, and we found ourselves coming to Aurora to seek political asylum as refugees.
Wow, that's amazing. It just so happens to be that I know that in zip code 80010 in original Aurora, there's about 193 refugee languages that are spoken. So you seem to personify that, and some say that's part of one of the reasons why you're running, because you can represent a population of folks that have been marginalized. So with that marginalization, the first thing I'd like to ask is, what do you plan on doing to address the lack of job opportunities for immigrant communities?
Thanks for that. 1 in 5 people out of Aurora state that they are from a different country, and so there is a huge immigrant population here. There is huge unemployment, underemployment, and lack of educational opportunities for the citizens, for all citizens, not just for the refugee or the immigrant community. That being said, there is a lot of work that has been done, but more need to be done so that we can make sure that people are finding these opportunities. That includes making sure that they are being retooled, retrained, so that they're able to get back into the marketplace. Some people may need more education, whether that's in like the science, the technology areas. Right down the street off of Colfax is the Anschutz Medical Center, which houses many science and technology jobs. But most of the people within the neighborhood are not working there at the Anschutz campus now. So what can we do to get more of our citizens, more people from Aurora working at Anschutz? There's a lot of opportunity there. There's also opportunities to become entrepreneurs as far as making sure that people have access to capital and access to small business loans, micro loans, and all of those things will help to get people working and citizens more engaged with the economy.
It sounds as if you have your issues down, you focus on them, and you're actually showing evidence in the community of some of the work that you're doing. Can you give us another example of another near and dear to your heart?
I always say that education is one of the key things that I've been focused in on. As an immigrant into this country, I know that education is the big equalizer. And as a child growing up, both of my parents stressed the value of an education. I knew I was going to college, and that was just not an option. You were going to go to college. So for all of the kids now that are in Aurora Public Schools, as a proud graduate of Aurora Central, I just know that a solid education that enables you to go further, whether that's to college or to technical school, enables you to live out your American dream. I feel that I'm living my American dream today because of the solid education that I got at Aurora Public Schools. My sister also attended, and I have many friends who are graduates of the public schools, and they've done a great job in preparing us for the future. But what's troubling right now is the fact that there was a report that recently came out about Aurora Public Schools that states that Aurora Public Schools are failing our children. What can we do to make these schools more efficient? I think there's a lot of money that is being placed on the infrastructure as far as the school and the buildings, but what are we doing to equip the teachers and the classrooms with tools and skills for our students? What can we do to improve the education process? There's a lot of issues within the rural public schools, such as there's so many kids where English is a second language. So what can you do to make sure that all of the kids are coming up at the same time and learning what they need so that they're not dropping out, so that there's less remediation, so that they are graduating? All of those things are important. It seems that most of our public schools nowadays are stressing the testing, and people are teaching to a test versus really teaching kids to have a well-balanced education that encourages them to think, to read, to draw their own opinions, and not just to answer a question on the test. I mean, that was how we learned, and I think that that's effective in making sure that kids are totally a full package as far as thinking and gaining knowledge and seeking knowledge versus just, oh, well, we need to know how to answer this question so we can get high test scores.
Like the purpose, oftentimes leads to those results that really don't matter in the long run. Let's just shift gears for a moment. Are there any issues or concerns that you have regarding the seniors of Aurora, original Aurora and or Arapahoe County?
I think there are a lot of seniors that are here, and seniors have their access to health care. Also, people taking advantage of our senior citizens, and there's a lot of senior fraud that goes on within the community. And how do we protect our seniors more and make sure that in this part of their life, that their quality of life is still a good quality of life, where they feel safe, they have access to health care, and that they can live out their days with fullness and with happiness. I think that's important as far as Aurora being a good place for quality of life.
Now, are there any populations that you recently connected with, worked with, made some new discoveries, and maybe had you consider going in a different direction, or re-emphasizing that you need to make sure that you deal with that particular?
I would say that I've done a lot of work recently with the African Leadership Group, the Women Empowerment Group.
Yes.
And these women are all women from different countries within Africa, the African continent. They are integrating into American society. Some of them are small business owners. A lot of them are working. And it's like, how do we make sure that they're integrating? How do we make sure that we're introducing them so that they're able to advocate for themselves, so that they're able to have a voice and they know how to present themselves? So this group is a great group of training women. I've worked with them in doing some of the fundraising events. They did a major event this past April, which was a fashion show. I was fortunate to work with the young women in the community. These are mostly high schoolers. Train them how to model, how to carry themselves on the stage, to be poised. I was the mistress of ceremony, and it was a really, really positive experience, and I enjoyed that experience.
With the housing situation getting worse in original Aurora, what approach do you intend to use regarding the residentially challenged?
That's a great question, Keith. We have a huge problem of supply and demand right now within the state of Colorado. We have a lot of people coming and moving into Colorado every day, and there's less and less affordable housing options for our citizens. We need to really look at it as a state, and even
As Arapahoe County and Aurora, what can we do? Maybe there might be some rent control type things that we can do to make sure that there is greater access for those who are unable to pay like a full rent. What kind of rent subsidies out there? But then we even have problems with the lack of housing, and there's a shortage because there was a long time where construction wasn't being done due to the housing crisis, and now people are trying to keep up with the demand by trying to build houses. And as those houses or condos are going up, you're having pricing which is much higher.
So
than
there's
it was
a
in the
lot of
past.
things that need to be done and looked at from a legislative standpoint and also from the county level and even on the federal
So
level.
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a taste of Miss Naquetta Ricks. We want to give her an opportunity to share the last thoughts, addressing the issues and message that you want to send to your supporters.
Thank
So
you,
we'd like to
Keith.
say-
I'm so excited to talk with our constituents today. I am in a very competitive race for the Colorado State House in House District 42. I'm in a three-way primary, which means that there's going to be a caucus runoff on March 1st. Every voter out there who is capable and registered to vote to show up to our March 1st caucuses, then will determine who gets on the ballot. In order for me to get on the ballot, I need 30% of the votes. Please show up to support me. I do absolutely need your help. In order to participate in the caucus, you must be a registered Democrat, and you must be registered by December 31st. So if you need to register to vote, please contact me, Naquetta Ricks, at nricks09@gmail.com, and we can get you registered. I also need to know where you are and if you're able to volunteer. We also need money for the campaign because you can't run a campaign without money. So if you're willing to participate, I do need your help. I think it's time that we have an immigrant voice at the state capitol, and I want to be your voice at the state capitol.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that we have a tradition here in House District 42, and it will continue on with the diverse talent with folks such as Ms. Naquetta Ricks, who is running again for Colorado State House District 42, and we would like you to support her however you can. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.